Well, good morning and Happy New Year. Down here on East Strand Beach, just watching parkrun, the first parkrun of the year getaway. It is the 1st of January and I just thought I would check in and kind of bookend the little video that I did on New Year's Eve about looking back. Now in that I talked about the fact that I would prefer to look forward, and that's what we're going to talk about in today's vlog. By the way, the light this morning is beautiful. No kind of clouds or anything in the sky, but it's just, and the sun actually rose above the visible horizon just as the park runners were getting going. Really nice. Anyway, getting distracted as always. Now, I'm actually not going to record the remainder of the vlog from down here. Not least, I've just seen that the Rode Video Micro mic, the battery's starting to run down on it. But I wasn't planning on recording the vlog from here anyway. I just wanted to bring you down first thing on New Year's Day, watch the start of parkrun, which by the way, I think is one of the only maybe 2 parkruns in the world that is 100% on a beach. I'm going to be recording this over the next couple of days. Just some thoughts that I had in terms of looking forward, myself personally, the channel, and just in general. But yeah, we'll catch up at some point over the next couple of days and we'll talk about looking forward. For now, I'm going to go back to the start-finish line. The first of the runners probably will be coming in about, they normally come in about 17 minutes, so go in and cheer them on. And I have just finished a little shoot down here at the Fossil Beach. Love it down here. In fact, I made an image here a couple of years ago that I really liked. But yeah, just finished a little shoot. We've had a couple of really stormy days here. And yesterday, the light, at times now, only for fractions of a second, but the light was incredible. And you might go, well, Nigel, were you out in it? Well, you know what? I thought about it. And then so yeah, I then thought, you know what, I'll just take on another cup of tea. But where was I? We were talking about looking forward. Now, just very briefly, as I said, 2021 was a pretty challenging year for myself from a personal perspective, from a mental health perspective. And so looking forward into 2022, I'm trying to be as positive as possible. I've kind of set myself a couple of targets, couple of tasks. I'm not a big believer in New Year's resolutions because I don't think you stick to those, but just a couple of things that I really want to focus on in 2022. And we'll talk about those again over these next couple of days. But number one, health. And not just mental health, but obviously physical health as well. Now, when I came back from Spain, I was in probably the best shape that I've been probably in my life actually. From a physicality point of view, at the very least. You know, my average miles per day during sort of June, July, August and into the early part of September was about 8.5 miles a day. It's now down to about 4 and a bit a day. which still isn't bad, but what a drop. And of course, that's because whenever you're in the van, you literally drive up somewhere and you go out and you hike and you walk and you're out with a camera and you're out running and whatever. And speaking of running, I actually haven't run. Well, I hadn't run for about 2 months. Now, in my defence, I have a little bit of an Achilles injury. But to be fair, I always have an Achilles injury. I run through it anyway. I know that's stupid, but I've ran ultras with Achilles injuries. And so I decided that I was going to get back into my running in 2022. Now, for me personally, physical health and mental health go hand in hand. I don't think I personally can have one without the other. And given the fact that my physical health is probably is more within my reach than my mental health, I think that's something that perhaps comes through time, then I'll definitely be focusing more on my physical health in 2022. Running is fantastic. At least for me it is. Actually, I know it's fantastic for millions of other people as well. And be that you get out for a 1k, a 5k, 10k, 10 miles, 50 or 100 miles, run a couple of times a week, a couple of times a month or every day, heck, several times a day. Just get out there and move. From an endorphin perspective, I can categorically confirm that it brings my mood up. Absolutely. Oh, lovely jubbly. Oh. So that's lots more walking with and without the camera, lots more running, and basically spending a heck of a lot more time outside. So number one on my looking forward into 2022 is health. So where were we? Oh yes, looking forward into 2022. Now I'm going to throw up a little image here that I made last year during our Scotland trip. And in one image, it kind of reminds me of something that I want to kind of focus more on in the year ahead. I got a little bit too transfixed in regards to photography being the only thing that makes me happy last year. And even though photography is my business, it's my income, there's no way that you can just focus 100% on one thing and expect that's the only thing that's going to bring you happiness, especially because on quite a few days you have what I like to call non days, i.e. the weather's not great, you're not feeling inspired, and you don't do any photography. Now on those days when I wasn't out with a camera, I found myself berating myself and kind of dejected because I wasn't out with a camera, and then I was frustrated, and it just kind of one thing led to another, and it just wasn't a very good place to be in. But I'd lost sight of the fact that I am more than just photography. Don't get me wrong, photography is a huge part of my life, but there are other aspects of my life which actually do bring happiness, contentment, and personal development. So why put up this image? Well, it was a fantastic day, or a fantastic couple of days. We'd obviously spent 3 months, or the guts of 3 months in Europe, and then we came back over to the UK, spent a bit of time down in Cambridge, and then had spent 2 or 3 weeks up in Scotland. And on this particular day, we travelled over and visited Mark Littlejohn. Had a great little dander out on the beach, played with the dog, went back for coffee and a chalky bicky, and had a wonderful natter. And I forgot just how much I love connecting, in-person connecting with other folks, especially other creative folks. Now, later that evening, we were treated to some absolutely beautiful light, as you can see here, so that was lovely as well. And then, of course, I was only a few steps away from the van, so travel. But then later that night, in the pitch of darkness, we were completely surrounded by a bunch of roaring stags, wildlife and nature. And then the next morning, I ended up making probably one of my favorite images from 2021. An image that obviously I haven't shown yet, but kind of almost bookend a wonderful couple of days. And so just a little reminder to myself that there are other aspects of my life which bring me rain, bring me happiness and joy and fulfillment, travel, connections, wildlife, nature, and of course photography as well. And so one of the things that I'm trying to make sure that I do this year, don't just 100% rely on photography to bring me that happiness and that fulfillment. Hang on a minute, I'm getting very wet. Let's get under cover here. Oh, that's a bit better. I'm not sure whether any of those other bits and pieces will show up on this channel. Still getting wet. Oh, wind's blowing the rain in. Might do. I'll probably talk a little bit more in depth about the development of the channel in a future video, but suffice to say that I now recognise that there are other aspects of my life that bring me that happiness, that development and that, joy. And it's more than just being out with a camera. So that's what I want to focus again on in 2022. And hopefully some of these other aspects of my life, the connections, the nature, the travel, the food, the fitness, maybe they'll allow me to be a little bit more inspired when I come to actually pick up the camera. So the third thing that I kind of want to focus on in 2022, if I look back through my images from the last year, the last couple of years, and certainly the little sort of slideshow that I did on New Year's Eve, 80% of the images in my library are all sort of disconnected. They don't really have any theme to them. And that's fine. I love capturing little moments. I love capturing rain in the ear hole. I love chasing light. But I scratch a little bit deeper and all of a sudden I get very wet. Oh my goodness me, what is going on here? Hang on a minute. Oh, I scratch a little bit deeper and there are a bunch of images in my library that actually are connected. They do have little threads between them, and it's actually those images that excite me the most because they are potentially the starting point. Look at this stupid GoPro and its so-called doesn't keep raindrops on it. What a load of rubbish. Oh my goodness me, I'm gonna have to go get some shelter. Kind of getting a bit of shelter here. Anyway, where was I? Those 20% of images in my library that have little threads between them, they excite me the most because they actually are forming parts of themes, parts of projects. And one of the things that I've always wanted to do was create something bigger than just an individual image and create something that perhaps I can, leave behind when I shuffle off this mortal coil or whatever they say. No, I'm hopefully not going to be shuffling anywhere anytime soon. And so one of the things that I kind of want to focus on in 2022 is putting more time into project-driven work. Now, I've had a couple of little projects on the back burner for a good couple of years now, and I really want to kind of focus a little bit more on those in the year ahead. Now, I'm not quite sure how chasing after sort of project-driven work will play out on this channel, but it's something that I would like to kind of focus on more in 2022. Oh, the rain's coming in again. Number one, health, both physical and mental. Number two, chasing down more things that make me happy other than photography. And number three, project-driven work. I think the other thing that I want to do, I want to start throwing up some shorter form videos. Just I'm out somewhere and I'm capturing an image and I don't really want to make a full vlog of it. So maybe a couple of times a month, I might throw up a little 5-minute video from the field, or maybe just me yabbering about something. Who knows? And hopefully carry on with these longer form videos on a Sunday. Really enjoy the YouTube channel. I really enjoy the YouTube process. I really enjoy the creative process. So hopefully we'll carry on doing that and with a few bits and pieces of change as we go. But I probably will push up another video at some point in the next couple of weeks, talking a little bit more about my relationship with YouTube and the development of this channel. But for now, from a very wet and windswept Portrush, I shall once again wish you all a very happy new year. Not quite sure what the done deal is for how long you can say Happy New Year for. Is it a week? Is it 2 weeks? Can you still say Happy New Year in February? Who knows? But I think it's time for a coffee. Okay guys, well once again, thanks a lot for following along, and until next time, take care. Bye bye.